Hello, bookworms, bibliophiles, and lovers of all things literature. Welcome to the next chapter of the Braless Book Guild podcast, where we discard our bras and plan a heist to talk about books both published and unpublished. We are your hosts, Jenna, that's me, Marissa,
hello,
and Megan. Hi! Before we get started, let's talk about what we're drinking today.
First of all, I wanted to say that's me, but I froze when you referred it to me.
On the spot. Today, Megan had a great idea and suggested that we all drink the same tea, which is kind of perfect for the book that we're reading. And today we're discussing A Tempest of Tea. So she decided that we should do the blood orange tea. So we're drinking a cranberry blood orange by the Republic of Tea.
Yeah, I thought it would be perfect because A Tempest of Tea is about tea and vampires.
Yeah.
And what do vampires drink?
Blood.
And she owns a tea house, and then at night it turns into a blood house.
Although we could have done coconut. If I had had a coconut tea, that would have been good too, because there is a whole coconut thing in there too.
Blood orange coconut.
Ooh, that sounds intense. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Maybe. You never know. It could be good. But yeah, so today we're talking about a Tempest of Tea, which was my choice of book. Megan chose Divine Rivals. Marissa chose Under the Whispering Door. And then I chose A Tempest of Tea by Hafsah Faizal. And I read this first, so of course it's going to be less fresh in my mind, but I'm really excited to remember all of this. And we finally all finished it, so we get to talk about it. So guys, what did you guys think of it?
Loved it. I absolutely loved this book. 5 stars for me. I do have some qualms, but we can get into that later.
Yes. I have qualms, but I loved this book. It was such a fun, easy read for me, and I couldn't wait to talk to you guys about it. What I didn't realize is that it takes place in the same world as We Hunt the Flame, but I haven't read We Hunt the Flame yet, so that is now definitely on my list while I wait for the second book in this series. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to kind of give you guys a summary of what this whole book is about. So, A Tempest of Tea follows Arthi and her tea shop, Spindrift, which is in White Roaring, which is very hard for me to say.
My brain, every time I read that, I was just like, what roaring?
It just didn't feel like a town to me. Anyway, so Spindrift is a tea shop that she keeps right on the border of like the upper side of White Roaring and the like slums, not quite the slums, but definitely the lower side. And she runs a tea shop during the day. And at night, it turns into like this. It felt very 1920s,
like a speakeasy.
Yeah, like it was a speakeasy, but for vampires, where it sold blood, which is illegal, and she could get into a lot of trouble with the Ram, who is the like king of. Is White Roaring
the monarchy?
City? Yeah,
basically. But it's like
it's a rotating monarchy.
Yeah, the Ram was brought into power by the council,
right?
Who is this mysterious group,
right?
That just brings random people. I don't remember any of the animals that were the masked folk that were.
I think there was a goat or something at one point,
or like a fox or something.
Yeah,
I don't remember the specifics, but they're all like masked animals, basically.
Yeah. You don't know who is actually in charge. It's just a masked figure. But anyway, so they're the monarchy of the empire, because it's an empire that's kind of taking over the world and moving into these different cultures.
Colonizing, you mean?
Colonizing, yes, because that makes it different. And Arthi is from one of these colonized countries and comes into White Roaring, and she builds this life for herself with this tea shop, and her not related brother, but they get the brother feeling, Jin. So they run this tea shop, and right off the bat, you can kind of tell that Arthi is like the criminal mastermind a little bit, kind of set the stage for that. And you can tell like the tea shop is pretty much everything to them. It's like their pride and joy. And they find out really quickly that it's in danger of being shut down because the Ram essentially bought the place that they lot out for Spindrift. So they're going to shut it down. So then Arthi is pretty much propositioned by someone who is on the Ram's Guard. What was the Ram's Guard's name again? Do you remember?
The Horned Guard.
The Horned Guard. That's what it was. And they're like, look, we will help you save your tea shop if you essentially get this ledger for us. And the ledger is in the Ethereum, which is a vampire coven kind of thing. It's like a giant fortress of like upper class vampires, which is interesting because vampires are definitely like outcasts of society, but also kind of rules society in a weird way. So the Ethereum kind of rules is the vampire side of a society, but the Ram is trying to like have a war against vampires and make the public hate vampires. Anyway, so it's almost impossible to get into. So Arthi puts together this group of ragtag team, much Six of Crows style, to do a heist to get inside of the Ethereum and get this ledger. And everyone has their own reasons for wanting it and what they're going to do with it. And loyalties are questionable and stuff like that. So essentially this whole story is about vampires, tea, and heists. And that kind of sums it up.
Yeah, that's good.
So guys, what did you guys think of it?
Loved it. I absolutely loved this book. 5 stars for me. I do have some qualms, but we can get into that later.
I have qualms, but I loved this book. It was such a fun, easy read for me, and I couldn't wait to talk to you guys about it. What I didn't realize is that it takes place in the same world as We Hunt the Flame, but I haven't read We Hunt the Flame yet, so that is now definitely on my list while I wait for the second book in this series. Marissa, what do you think?
I liked it. It took me a while to get my mindset into what the book was, because I was not sure how it was going to going into it, and I couldn't like quite grasp the I don't know, I guess the vibe it was giving out.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
So it took me a while to get into it, and I had a lot of like stuff that I didn't like about it, but I liked it well enough. I think I gave it like a 3-star, maybe.
Yeah.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, I think I gave it 4.5 was I think my goal. The only thing that pulled it out for me was the love interest part of it, which Marissa and I had talked about before.
But now we get to talk with Megan about it all.
Yes.
I have so much to say about that as well. I am very ready. Do we want to save that? I don't know. Does that include spoilers? Save it for later, or an overall?
I feel like it was very early on in it. We won't go into spoilers, but just into the beginning part of it for me. I feel like it jumped right into the love interests for all of them.
Oh yeah, they were very much almost love at first sight, like insta love is what they call it now.
The problem is every single
Trope.
Yeah, every single trope that I don't like when it comes to romance, and I'm not a big romance person in the first place, which is ironic because Gail Carriger is one of my favorite authors. But every single trope was a trope I hated, and they put it in there.
What tropes were they specifically?
There was the love triangle, the denial of feelings, the love at first sight, the like almost everything.
Yep,
I was
it
like, I did not like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's start from the beginning. From the beginning, I thought Arthi and Jin were endgame, because there was moments where even Arthi was like looking at Jin and being like, oh, the memories that we have together. Now I see it's more like towards the end of the book, I realize it's more of like a brotherly, sisterly love. But in the beginning, I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
she's like very focused on Jin, very focused on the way he's looking at other people, at other girls and stuff. So for me, I was just like, oh, she's out here in love with everybody.
Yeah.
But again, denying her feelings for anybody.
Yeah. I agree. I kind of got a little bit of a vibe of that, and that was one of those things of where I was trying to like piece together what this book was going to be like.
Yeah.
And so I was like, is it going to be the best friend trope of like, oh, we basically grew up together, and now we're in love?
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they went with the more like brother sister
I agree.
aspect of it.
I love when, because brother sisterly vibes, we grow up together, unless they're just friends. I
Yeah.
love that trope, but if they're like brother sister, that is a little ick for me.
Yeah.
Yes. I actually never got the vibe that Jin and Artie were going to be like endgame or together or anything. No, it's RT. There's no H.
There's an H. I'm pretty
There's
sure.
an
there
H.
isn't.
There's an H.
You're right, Arthi.
Sorry. I like
it's
Artie
funny.
better than Arthi. I did not like the name Arthi, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what it was though, and that is something I wanted to go into a little bit, was King Arthur.
That makes sense.
I loved that aspect. Did you not like it? Did you not care for it?
I would have liked it a lot more if it didn't feel like just a little like nod.
Okay. I'm hoping book 2 and potentially book 3, I don't know how many are going to be in the series, because her first series was only a duology. I loved her gun in the stone and like the whole lore kind of behind that, and how she basically just like stalked them and was just like, hey, they often close this off at night sometimes. I'm going to go see what it is. And then she like sees that they just take it out for regular cleaning, and she's like, oh, so you need to like step exactly right there and just pull it out. And it's like this whole mythical thing. And it's just like, I liked that it wasn't this whole mythical thing. But
I did like that a lot. I liked that it was more of a like, I was smart enough to figure it out.
yes.
Right. Yes, I agree. I like that. I did like the whole King Arthur bit in this, because it felt very much like it was pulling it and mixing genres a little bit. Yeah. It is a fantasy world, but it felt like it mixed the fantasy worlds, like the vampires with King Arthur and with all of that, and also in a completely different setting and time period.
I think my hard part about it was that it wasn't really, and I, like you said, I don't know what the next books are like, but it wasn't really like a retelling of King Arthur.
Right.
And that's where it was kind of hard for me, where it was kind of just a nod to it in my head. I'm like, I think I would have liked it better if it turned into this book was just a retelling of King Arthur.
Right.
It's interesting, and a lot of this book I got in a separate, like, I half listened to it and half read it.
Okay.
So I think that was not a great idea, because it got kind of confusing going back and forth sometimes. So there's some stuff that, like, I don't know if I picked up on very much. My problem was, like, I had a hard time of imagining this world to an extent where, like Jenna was saying, the vampires are like looked down upon, but also high society.
Right,
but
that was
also
confusing.
like, I was under the impression that vampires and humans were like equal, and then it was just like, some people don't like other people because they're different.
Right.
That was kind of how I saw it. But then there was also the problem of like, but it's also like at night, we flip a switch and our entire tea house like changes literally. That I thought was cool. The tea house changing.
Cool. It was very cool.
I would like to see that. I would love to see that like worked out in a movie. Just that aspect of it.
I think if this book had been a movie, I would have liked it better.
I can see that. It's funny because I got confused, and I did just read it. I read it on Kindle, I believe, and I got confused with it too, with the vampires, and you know, like, are they high class? Are they looked down on? And it seemed like it almost seems like everyone that's in power is hidden in some way. Because like when like the first chapter, Arthy's going to meet Mateo, and she calls him out for being a vampire, but she's like, he wouldn't want anyone to know he's a vampire because there's a prejudice against vampires. So it seems like the vampires don't want to be known that they're vampires. So that seems almost why the Ethereum is not
a fortress.
Yeah,
almost.
It's not open to people.
But it is open to people, because right when they open, they're like, oh yeah, you can still go in and like check things out. You just can't go inside. You can go inside the walls.
Yeah.
But not the actual building itself. And then they made the Festival of Night. They made this whole big thing where like, oh yeah, everyone wants to go inside and see.
Yeah.
But if there's a prejudice against vampires, why would you want to go?
That's why I think it's not really a like societal prejudice against vampires. I don't think it's necessarily like vampires are a lesser citizen.
Yeah.
I think they live equally, and there's just some people that see them as lower.
Yeah.
And then like there are some people that are trying to make them appear lower than they are, and they might talk down in that fact, but I don't think it's necessarily like, yeah, these are lesser citizens from us.
But the Ram is almost trying to make it that way.
Yeah.
Which you get right away, because if it wasn't, why would Spindrift be illegal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you get the idea that like the monarchy is against vampires. And so there is something that's kind of like stopping the vampire, but they also kind of need them. So that's why the Ethereum's there. And it seems like the way they kind of explain it through the book, or at least the way I got it, is that the Ethereum is like the ruling class of vampires. So they're supposed to keep vampires in line. But like Artie says, like there's so many people on the street that aren't part of the Ethereum that need to eat, and you know, so that's why they have Spindrift.
Also, what was confusing to me was was it the White Wolf? I didn't write it down. The White Wolf of
Oh
The Wolf of White Warren.
The Wolf of White
Yeah.
Roaring.
that vampires lived in anonymity until that vampire came out and was just like, it was like basically the Jack the Ripper
Yeah.
but he's a vampire, or a half vampire, I should say, because that's a very important distinction. A half vampire that helped get the ram into power. I don't quite understand how the ram got into power. So this is maybe something we'll discuss during the spoiler section.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that is a question that I had of, I don't understand what that was about.
When we get into the spoiler section, I will tell you my theories on that.
I also have theories, but also I have more questions than theories. So I'm
Yes.
excited to hear.
Yeah.
That being said, I thought that what I liked the most about this was how different each of the cast was. So
Yeah.
I really liked how unique and fun. And I feel like when you have a heist book, a la Six of Crows, you have to have a very different and unique and interesting cast. And she did that really well.
I agree.
Where I was just as interested on Jin's point of view as Flick's, and I cared about Arthy's. I just didn't care about her love interest side of it. It was like everything else about her I liked. And Marissa made a comment about her, and I really wish that it had been true. And I looked at her hoping that she'd remember so that she could say it, but I don't.
My
think she
comment
knows.
that I think that you wish was true. Oh, I had wished Arthur was asexual.
Yes,
Yeah.
That would have been so great.
It would have been so great.
Because it wasn't like...
She's focused on revenge. She doesn't have time for love
Exactly. I didn't think
or
that...
sex.
I think that was one of my biggest takes from it, was that I didn't like the romance part
Mhm.
of her story at all. And even if it was... Like, sometimes when I read heterosexual romances, I'll just be like, okay, just imagine the other person is of the same gender so that I can just, okay, love is love. And so I would try to do that, and I'm like, I still didn't like these romances. And so I think it would have been a lot better if Arthur was asexual or didn't have any romance.
Aromantic, yeah.
Exactly.
So I have to ask, who was your guys' favorite character?
Flick.
Flick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jin and Flick,
Oh,
both of them.
Mateo for me.
Oh, I hated Mateo.
Really
I couldn't stand him.
interesting.
Yeah, I thought Jin was
funny.
and he reminded me of Jesper.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Flick was just, I loved her and her like coming into being a strong woman, and like she was desperate for her mom's love and affection again. But in that desperation, she was realizing that she doesn't need that to define her
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what that means. And I thought she was probably the most interesting character, but I laughed almost every time I was reading Jin's stories, because he just had that Jesper like persona of like, Felicity. And
See, okay, that's why I didn't like Jen at first, because Felicity was like, she was like, my name's Flick. And
Yeah.
I'm like, she doesn't want to use her name. Call her by what she wants you to be called her by. And it wasn't until towards the end of the book when she's like, I don't want you to call me the name that woman gave me,
yeah,
aka her mom.
right.
And then I was like, okay, we did need that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understood. Also, quick shout out, speaking of Jin,
Mhm.
quick shout out. I recognize that BTS reference that was in there.
Megan did. She sent it to us. She was like, BTS reference. And we were like, really? We had no idea.
Jenna goes, is there a song about this? And Megan just sends a screenshot of the
The song.
2 songs.
Because the quote was like, oh, what do I need to do is get a bunch of us together and sing about self-love and butter. And I was like, yeah, that's what BTS does. Also, Jin is the oldest member of BTS. His name is Jin.
Yeah.
So
That actually kind of helped me understand the book a little bit more.
yeah.
I'll be honest, because I was trying to figure out why this book felt so different and like not really my style to me. And I think it was that the author was putting little things like that in there that
Yeah.
I wasn't getting.
And I think, because I do think there's a ton of references to her other book, especially about Arauia. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Arauia was the...
I knew that was it. Do you know how long I was watching your plate, Jenna, waiting for that to happen?
I caught it though.
You did. I literally were keeping this in. I was watching that plate on the armrest, just balancing slightly sideways. And I'm like, she's gonna knock it over. She's gonna knock it over.
Not the tea cakes. The references, I do think there's a ton of references to her other duology, and that kind of makes me sad that I didn't finish them, because I started them and then my loan at the library disappeared. So then I just never got a chance to finish them. I do want to finish them because I did enjoy her writing enough to do those. And I do remember of the part that I got into, what was the first one called?
We Hunt the Flame.
Yeah.
I think I own both of them if you want to borrow them.
I do have the physical copies, but sometimes
it's easier on the phone.
It's easier on audio, yeah. I don't have the second one though. I only have the first one. But I do want to finish it, and I would like to see the references that are filled throughout.
Yeah, I think that's just a lot of it felt like I was missing stuff.
Yeah.
It's interesting because this book, I don't know, after I'm done reading the books, I like to go onto Goodreads and read some of the books.
The reviews,
that may have spoilers and stuff. And one person had like a really negative review, which bothered me a little bit because they were like, this book tried too hard to be Six of Crows. And I was like, it did feel very Six of Crows. But I don't think that it was trying to be Six of Crows. I think she just took that inspiration from it and built a heist based off of her world, which is what Six of Crows did, with what Leigh Bardugo did with Six of Crows and her Grishaverse, is she had this wonderful heist book. And so I think she just took, like inspiration from Six of Crows, which felt awesome to me. But in Leigh Bardugo's, it was interesting to go back and read her earlier books about Alina. I'm going to pronounce that.
Shadow and Bone, Alina, yeah.
Get the things that I had missed through Six of Crows when I read those later. So I'm curious if that'll be kind of the same thing with this, where the We Hunt Flames, I can go back and read them and be like, oh, that's what that tie-in was there.
So my only thing is, and Six of Crows did it well, and I think Leigh Bardugo is a fantastic author, and there was a reason that Six of Crows is so popular. But heists have been around forever.
Right? Yeah.
So if someone had not read Six of Crows, this book would have been fun. But I think comparing it to Six of Crows, and I do agree because, a YA book that's set in a heist with a ragtag team that has to come together, especially when they all have their own goals. I think,
in a fantasy setting.
Ocean's 11.
Yes.
The Sting. There's so many stuff out there. So I think comparing it to Six of Crows is kind of an injustice to it. Because, yes, Six of Crows is a heist with different points of views and stuff. So I don't know. I think we need to I understand the comparison.
Yeah.
But also there's only so much that you can do.
I agree. And I think that's partly why I think I would have liked this better as a movie, is because I like heist movies.
Oh, yeah. Italian Job, man. Yes.
It was a heist. The book is a heist movie. And the big thing that set it lower for me was the romance and the internal monologues for a lot of it. And I feel bad because usually it's the opposite. I like books because I get that internal monologue. I didn't like a lot of the internal monologues I heard. I couldn't stand Mateo, like I said. And I wonder if I would have liked him better on screen because I wouldn't have been so, in it.
If Mateo was not a love interest, would that have made you like him more?
Probably not, but that's because I kept imagining him as the vampire in Baldur's Gate 3, and I can't stand that vampire either. Asterion? Asterion? Yeah, I can't stand him. They just have that, pompous,
suave, over the top.
I'm so full of myself. And I'm like, I can't stand that.
Yeah, I definitely agree that I think the hard part about writing books that are heists is there's not as many battles. Like when you write books about wars, there's battles. And so there's moments of high contention and things to do. Heists in general, you want the actual heist to have a spin on it that's interesting enough to keep you oh, I didn't just watch you plan this whole thing and now
it works out perfectly.
Watching it perfectly work out.
I actually have something to say.
What?
And I am going to go back on literally what I just said. I am going to do a minor comparison to Six of Crows, but in that it's separate. I like heists where in Six of Crows, spoiler alert if you have not read it, where everything that does go wrong is actually part of the plan.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh,
I love that. This one, she would go on this thing to get this one specific thing and would fail miserably. which I have so much to say about that because it did not work for the book.
Right.
And I'm like, they're failing left and right. How in the world are they going to pull off a heist if they can't even pull off this simple, hey, get this coin?
Yeah.
And so for me, in Six of Crows, when they did have that thing, it worked so well for me because in the end he was like, yeah, well, I knew this was going to happen. So, and I'm just like, oh, he's like 7 steps ahead.
Yeah.
Whereas Arthi, which I do feel she's a different character, of course.
Right.
And she has her own goals and she does understand that, like she did know about Flick's
thing.
Her what Flick's plan was.
Yeah.
I liked that, but I just kind of felt like she doesn't know what she's doing. And I felt
she
that there was
didn't
a
have
little
that.
bit,
That Kaz, like 5 steps ahead, thinking all the ways.
Which I'm also glad that she didn't because she's a totally different character. She has her own like issues that she has to deal with on top of pulling off the heist. But I do wish that there was more wins before they went into the actual heist itself.
Yeah.
So I could say like, oh yeah, she can actually pull it off.
Yeah.
Because half the time I was just like waiting for her to fail.
Right.
So that's what I was basically just waiting for them to fail.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's also I felt the heist was very simplistic.
The intricacy of the coins part was really cool. But then once she got in, I was just like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, you're in. You're good.
Yeah.
Just go grab it.
Yeah, there was really only one. To me, there wasn't enough steps leading to the heist. Like, I don't know, when you have a good heist, think Ocean's 11, Ocean's 8, any of the oceans, you know, they have like all these different things they have to do to pull it off. And their main thing was like, okay, well, we need to get a coin and we need to forge the coin. And then they're like, well, it can't work because of this. And it's like, okay, well, we'll just do this then. And it's like, it was just one thing.
It was, one roadblock, basically.
And I was like, I wish there was more. But it was a shorter book. I'm pretty sure it was just setting up the world for us to get into so that I'm hoping there's something bigger in the next couple books.
I think there will be.
Yeah, there has to be.
There has to be. I agree, but I think the idea of the heist itself and the way the Ethereum works with the coins was really well plotted out. With like, you have these coins that open up, there's numbers on them, the numbers have to match. And a vampire in like the side room or whatever looks at the numbers, matches it in her ledger. And then
it was just the only one.
It was quick, yeah.
It was the only thing that they had to come over. And it was all Flick. So to me, it was like, yes, like Jin got her in, but we need someone that can forge these things. And she can also forge the numbers to match the sister's handwriting. And it was like,
she actually went to a forge.
Right.
And forged coins.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it did. And
Double
it felt
meaning
like
for that word.
It just felt too simple almost for me for the heist on its own. But like I said, I think that the heist wasn't what was the important part of this book. I think, oddly enough, it's the plot of the book, but I feel like it was secondary to everything else.
The heist was around like 60 to maybe 70%, and then you had 30% of the book left over afterward. Then, because once the heist ended, I was like, wait, what's... I mean, we did get a huge chunk of stuff, and it was just like, okay, now we know what we need to do. But
I will say, I liked how the heist was written by like the separate perspectives, and they were like really short chapters. It wasn't like a drawn out in any way, and it made it feel like
fast paced,
like the tension was building and all of that stuff. I liked how that was written.
I agree.
So I think if the heist was more of the main focal point of this book, and there was more time spent on it, I would have rated this book a little bit higher.
Yeah. More intricate, more wins in the first half of the book. So when we get there, we're thinking, everything's gonna work out, and then everything goes undone.
Right. Yeah, or even just like you said, more intricate, more like roller coaster of it all, rather than just like stop, move to the side. Okay, we're good.
Yeah. It was, I think Megan pointed out well, like when everything was failing miserably in the beginning, like it literally was everything they had to do to get to the heist part. Like they break into the sister's house and that goes wrong. They tried to get the coin from that guy. I know. And it was like, it was just like every little thing that they did went so utterly wrong that it was very much kind of unbelievable that the heist went so well.
And I feel like everything that she wrote as part of a heist or anything that went wrong was just a plot device to push the romance aspects.
Yeah.
I think all of the things that like they were doing was just a setup to give some sort of romantic scene between somebody.
And I think this might be a good point to get into spoilers because
we can't talk about anything else that's not spoiling.
Right.
Yes.
Because I have so much to say on that, but it requires spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think at this point, please check out if you have not finished this book or if you don't want something spoiled for you, you now are interested enough that you're going to go and read it, and come back in just a couple seconds and you can join us for spoilers.
Diddle-oo, diddle-oo, diddle-oo.
Give us spoiler music.
I just want to hear River Song. Spoilers.
Okay, so Lithe.
Hold on.
Lathe.
Hold on. We have to get into the spoilers before we even brought up his name.
Yes.
Can I also talk about the fact that the entire time you were summarizing this book, you were using gender neutral pronouns for everybody?
Yes.
It's perfect.
I was like, she didn't even say he or her on anyone, even though they are confirmed one gender or another in the book.
Yeah.
Everybody was gender neutral for you.
I was just being all inclusive because this was not at all an LGBTQ book.
She's trying to find something.
I was trying to find
I
something
thought
for you.
Mateo could swing both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Lathe. God. I hated him.
Yep.
And
His only redeeming quality was the cat.
yeah. So like when you said, so at the middle of the heist, and everything did go wrong in the heist. I didn't want to say that before spoilers.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm having like so many questions about this book bombard my brain right now. It was a setup for their romance and her questioning whether she made the right choice by getting him caught, basically, which didn't matter because he somehow escaped.
Right.
But we don't know how or why or what.
I stopped listening to anything about Lathe.
She was like, "Oh, I feel bad because maybe he is a genuinely good guy, and maybe there was romance there." But then he got out, and he wasn't a good guy. So really, she was right from the get-go.
Yeah. And like you said, the whole heist was basically leading up to her being like questioning of whether she made the mistake or not.
Right.
Right? Is that what you were saying?
Every single thing that they did, I felt like was just a way for the author to set up a romantic scene. So like the sister part going wrong and then Jin getting injured, and so it was a setup to have Flick care for Jin.
Yes.
And
Okay.
it's the same thing as
Yes. As someone, I can now say this because I was laid off. I wrote for Choices,
Yes.
which is a visual novel app. And that is literally what I would write. I would write, you had to kick everything off. The steam and the love had to be instant. Immediately, the attraction had to be there. You couldn't deny anything. You can't deny your feelings for them. This felt like a Choices novel to me.
yes.
Yeah.
In that it was written almost over the top of every single minute feeling you had to. Hafsah, I have a question. Do you write visual novels?
Question: did you work with me?
Because this felt like it very much. And it was not something I enjoyed because that was work.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is supposed to be pleasure. And
I think you want to, when you're reading a good romance, you want to feel the tension, and this didn't feel tension.
it was
There
shoved
no
at us.
tension.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, they're attracted to each other, and even when they're denying their attraction, they're attracted to each other.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work well for me.
Yeah.
You know, it was, I liked Flick and Jin more than I liked Arthi and Mateo
else.
and Lathe and their love triangle. But even Flick and Jin, it was too instant. And you can write romances where there has already been attraction, but this just didn't read like that.
I think I would have liked Flick and Jin if they were an established couple in some way.
They could have been because
Right. Yeah.
they had history.
Exactly. And I think it would have been a lot better if it was more of like they both acknowledged it, and maybe it was like, oh, they were an established couple, they broke up, there's
Yeah.
that tension there.
I would
great.
That
love
would have been
that.
great.
That would have been so good.
And then you could still make Jin the like playboy that he was trying to be and all of that stuff. totally would have made sense.
Or they're like hiding their relationship. They don't want Arthi to know that they're together, or no one's supposed to know because of her mom or whatever. And so like they're together, but they're trying to play it cool. That would have been cool too. I could have done that.
Did Jen and Flick sleep together? Because there was a line where he's like, I only get an hour off. And she's like, oh, you're getting off? You're getting off right now? And he's like, she's like, who is it this time? And he's like, it's Flick, but it's not like that. And I was like, hang on, what?
Yeah.
Because it made it sound like she was in the room with him because his hair was disheveled, his shirt was half off.
No, they did not sleep together.
Because then there was
not
nothing
that.
about that. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was...
Because Flick is too like, oh my gosh.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I
Her
don't
reputation
think
would have been
alone
in
with a
roots,
man for
Yeah.
2 seconds, even though I've been alone with tons of men because I'm a secret forger.
Yeah. But I think that's something I liked about Flick's story, though, was that she had her own story and her own like development going on. That was definitely way more interesting than everybody else's. If you took away all the romance from everybody, I think Flick's was the most interesting to me.
Oh, okay.
Because her whole thing of like her being the daughter of this woman, and she was adopted, right? Where it was like,
yeah, she's adopted.
So it was like she was chosen by this woman, and in her eyes, it was like, oh, I have a mother now.
Yeah.
Where in her mother's eyes, it was more of just like a project.
For me, it felt like her mother was just like, yeah, I am committing these atrocities because she's the owner of the East India Trading Company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not the East India
The
Trading.
EJC, the East Jeevan, I think you're right. East Jeevan Company. The EJC, we'll just call it that.
Yeah.
And here is my daughter of color.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, see, I'm not racist, you guys. I have a daughter who's black.
Yes.
See, I'm not racist. To me, that was what her adoption was.
And that's what I liked about it, was that it was Flick figuring that out.
Yes.
Right.
And I liked that so much. And I liked her, that she was her own person.
Mm-hmm.
She had her own skill set. And she had her own, like, drama that she was going through, that she was just like, hey, I'm gonna do this so I can clear my mom's name.
Yes.
Right.
Her goal in life was to be like, I'm gonna get a tabloid story for my mom, and I'm gonna prove to her she's gonna forgive me because she was caught forging, so she was on house arrest and they were gonna come arrest her, so she's gonna basically ruin her mom's reputation. But she's like, no, I'm gonna get it back, don't you worry. And then she realized that, like, that line of her being like, my mom eats with me to make sure I don't overeat.
Right.
My mom goes shopping with me to make sure I wear the clothes that she deems appropriate.
Yeah.
And her realizing that was so good.
Yes.
It was so well done.
Yeah, her Flick was the most interesting part of this, I think. And her whole dynamic in it was beautifully written because, first of all, even into the romance side of it, her oppositeness with Jin as his fear of fire and her like obsession with a lighter and Flick and all of that, like that was perfect.
It was so good.
That would have been probably the part of that relationship that made me the most interested in that relationship, was the fact that like it had that opposites attract feel.
Yeah.
Without being over the top opposite attract. But yeah, I thought everything about Flick was so well written that I found myself wanting to read her point of view more than anyone else's.
Yes.
And her coming into her own of like, it's something I feel like everyone can relate to, because I think everyone at one point or another has someone in their life that they feel like they're going above and beyond for, and then realizing that they're not reciprocating the same thing from that person, whether it's a relationship or
right in the heart.
right.
Right in the heart.
It can be your parents, it could be a relationship, it could be a friendship. At some point in everyone's life, we've had that person where you're like, I'm putting so much into this that I'm not getting anything out of it. And as you like tear apart your relationship and stop worrying so much about being perfect for that person and making that person love you and getting what you feel like, and you realize you shouldn't have to try that hard to get that love from them, like that's something I think that hits everyone. And I thought that was really why that it was so interesting. Whereas, you know, yes, there's a lot to be seen in Arthi's revenge story, but we don't all have that history that we can feel. And same with Jin. Like, yes, you can see where he's coming from with his parents, but you don't all have that history of like wanting to be with your parents because they died. Maybe not.
Yeah, we still don't know. Do you guys think Jin's parents are alive?
I think they're alive. I told Jenna, because so I was texting Jenna. Jenna had already finished it, and so I'd text her like my little theories as I was reading the book, and I was right about some of them. One of my theories, because the big mystery of like who is the ram.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how it would work, but I thought for a split second, what if one of Jin's parents was a ram?
Same.
And I was like, that would be so interesting.
I was thinking for that, how it would work was that in order to become the ram, you had to like destroy your past life or whatever.
Yeah.
And be presumed dead or whatever. So that was my thought. I don't think they're dead. I think they're going to play a big role later on in the story. And then speaking of the ram, when did you guys realize who the ram was?
I think after she talked with her mom. After Flick talked with her mom that time when she was all like, look, I'm going to tell you everything that we're going to do. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you just shot yourself in the foot. Like, that was when I noticed it too. I was like, oh, the ram's going to that's going to be her mom. It has to be her mom because now she just gave it away. But I did like the beauty of it.
Yeah. For me, I just assumed anyone that we meet could possibly be the ram.
Oh, yeah, every time.
So I even thought Mateo or even Lathe or anybody could have been, even like maybe even Arthie herself was the ram.
Yeah.
But at one point I did think just randomly, it's probably her mom. And then it was like, oh, I'm right.
Yeah.
But I literally assumed everybody. So
yeah,
I would have been right no matter what.
I think it's because the EJC or whatever was tied in with the ledger.
Right.
That I was like, okay, well, if it's not her, she at least is close with the ram at some point. So when she went up and started telling her everything, I'm all like, how do you know she's not going to just turn around to the ram if she's not the ram and be like, hey, so this is what's going to happen?
Dude. So for me, it was funny because I think that the one point that like I thought, oh, that's going to mean something was when Flick kept getting excited, like pointing out her eyes. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's going to mean something. That's going to mean something. And at first I was like, her mom's going to be something important. It's going to have something to do with her eyes. And then when it came around, I was like, I knew it was the eyes. But it wasn't until we sat there and she sat down and talked with her mom. I was like, that's not good. That was just not a good play.
It was just a foreboding scene.
Right.
Is kind of what it came down to. It was such a like good, satisfying scene as far as like her coming to grips with everything and finally standing up for herself and finally like, I don't need your love and affection anymore, even though you never gave it to me. I don't need your approval for everything I do. So it was like, that was so satisfying, but it was also so like foreboding.
Yeah.
But it did show the fact that she couldn't have won from the get-go. Her plan was doomed because no matter what, if she had gotten the ledger and outed the ram, it would have been her mom. She was going to mess things up for her mom anyway. It just showed that like she wasn't going to be able to win her mother over no matter what. And we already knew that was going to happen. You already know when you're in those situations, in those relationships, there's nothing that you can do that's going to make that okay. And it's going to win their approval. But it did show that it just wasn't. It was doomed from the get-go.
Yeah.
So, funny story. In the Fairy Loot version of the book, which I have and what I read, there is a exclusive chapter.
Really?
Ooh.
And it shows when Arthie and Flick first meet for the first time.
Oh.
And it was right before she met Jin. And so Arthie realized that Lady Linden, Flick's mom, was the owner of the EJC and was like the proprietor of it or whatever. And so she was going to go kill her.
That's awesome.
It is really cool. But then she like stumbles because she's what, an 8-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And she, and then she finds out, like she hears them talking about Jin's parents and how, like this is honestly a very important chapter that I think should have been canon in the book.
Yeah.
And not just exclusive stuff. But she hears Lady Linden talking about Jin's parents and about how like, oh, they're not cooperating. Okay, I need you guys to get rid of them no matter what it takes. And so she's like, oh, shoot, I don't know where they live, but I'm going to go find them and I'm going to tell them.
Which is
And
what set her
then-
up with Jin.
Yeah. So then she's like, okay, but first I'm going to kill her. And then she like falls down, drops her knife. And then Felicity just comes up. At the time, she was Felicity. Comes up and is just like, oh, you dropped this? And she's just like, why are you so nice? And she even made a point of being like, she's like the same skin tone as me. And she's like, that's your mom? That's not your mom because you're not the same, skin color or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, there's more than one, different types of moms, which I thought was really cool. And then she's like, oh, shoot, well, I missed on my chance to basically kill her. And I can't kill this woman because I don't have a mom. And I'm going to make this daughter right here
Without a mom.
momless.
Mhm.
So fine, I'll let her go. And then she's like, oh, shoot, I smell smoke. And so she runs and
That's cool.
finds Jin. It was really cute.
Yeah.
It's a quick read if you guys want to read it.
I liked the flashbacks. I liked when you had the flashback of what happened with Jin and his parents, and then finding it out from the other point of view with Artie. I keep calling her Artie because that's how I called her in my head.
It's funny because you would text me, Eddie would text me Artie, and I'm like, that's funny, her phone's autocorrecting.
No, it was just in my head. I
Shoot.
dropped the H. And I liked her point of view when it flashes back and you see like the importance of it and all of that. And yeah, Marissa and I caught on to the fact that she was a vampire early on.
Oh,
From
yeah.
like chapter 2.
Stupid early.
Oh, okay. I was like middle chapter when she was talking, not middle chapter, like not mid book, but like when she was talking about making coconut blood for the vampires.
Mhm.
And then she's like, I need my coconuts. And I was like, why? And then she's drinking coconut milk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, why is she drinking? I mean, it's probably from her hometown, so she wants to drink it, but she's like, this is important.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe like 30 to 40%. And then it was very obvious in the end. She
Yeah.
was just like basically yelling at us.
There
Yeah.
were a few moments that like made me think about it, but the one that really got me was when I think it was Lath said, and they repeated it at the end. I'm like, I knew I caught on to that. Was, do you remember what it was like to be alive?
Yeah.
And I'm like, as soon as he said that, I'm like, all right, she's dead. Like she's a
Yeah.
vampire or some sort of creature. The hard part once again was I was still trying to figure out this book and what kind of world this was. That I was like, is she a vampire? Is she some other creature or something that
The blade of
similar?
vampires.
I thought she was going to be the Wolf of
Daywalker.
White Roaring, so I was surprised that she wasn't.
Okay, who is the Wolf of White Roaring? Is it Mateo?
I think it's Mateo.
I don't know. I liked the fact that they said that the ram used the wolf to get into power, and I like to think that it's not a vampire.
So the thing is, so Megan had asked about that, and I think that it was like, it wasn't necessarily the wolf that like was in cahoots with the ram. I think that the ram just used the situation to her advantage.
Yeah, and I could see that, but I also, because I'm, want it to be something that I know it's not going to be, is that they created this boogeyman.
Right.
I think
that-
it's going to be Mateo.
But I
don't
thought
want
there
it
was
to
a
be.
throwaway line. There was a throwaway line that made me question everything, and that's why I have this question, is it was a boogeyman. The Wolf of White Roaring never existed.
Yeah.
But then here we are, last chapter.
And yeah, that was the hard part.
And
of-
so I was like, okay, so then was there an actual half vampire that was killing everybody? But then it was just like, they caught him right away. And then they're just like, oh, we're just going to continue these like little things. And also, how far ago was this?
That's
Because it sounded like the ram was in power for a very long time. But then also it sounded like it was only recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
I think it
vampires
has to be. I think it has to be recent because it would be. She's human as far as we know, and therefore non-aging, and therefore
she can go out in the sun.
Yeah,
But if you drink coconut juice, right, doesn't it?
I think that they could go out in the sun no matter what. It just was
Overexposure
uncomfortable
can,
if they would
harm them.
Yeah,
I also there's so many different ways that I interpreted that line of the ram used the wolf to go into power,
yeah.
where I also thought maybe that she was like experimenting with people and vampire blood and stuff like that, and maybe she created this vampire.
Yeah.
It's possible we haven't even met them yet.
Okay, I literally opened the book 2 pages away from the line. And so the line is, the Wolf of White Roaring attack was fabricated in order to instill fear, Penn said. Vampires had lived in relative secrecy for decades until the ram decided otherwise, forcefully turning the Wolf of White Roaring into a half-vampire and unleashing him upon the city so that the ram could sweep in and save it. But no one knew that was only the beginning.
Okay, so yeah, she did create him.
Okay.
Oh, she created him.
Yeah, she turned a human into a half vampire.
Fabricated. So fabricated to me, that read as it was fake. Like fake.
Yeah, that's the original one that I did, and then the way that then like a few words later they talk about how she used the blood of a vampire.
Yeah, forcefully turning the Wolf of White
Yeah.
Roaring into a half vampire.
So I think the wolf was a human that was a serial killer.
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then she was all like, I'm going to see what kind of beast I could create with this. Like what kind of weapon I could create, basically.
See, I already know.
And then...
So now if it's Mateo, that makes me so sad.
I don't think it's Mateo, though. I mean,
think
it could
is
be.
because Penn says like multiple times, or I don't know if it's multiple times, you have more in common than you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
It was very...
insinuated.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to wait for book 2.
Yes.
I'll be honest, I'm not invested enough to try to figure this out.
Okay.
But that was because I gave the book 3 stars.
Yeah.
I think that this book, what I liked about it was that it did feel lighter. It was easier to read and everything was a little lighter. So I didn't feel like this heavy, I'm really invested and everything's, like super heavy and emotional to me.
I just looked up and book 2 does not have a release date.
Of course not.
I know. Someone already gave it 1 star. How dare you?
People on Goodreads are rude. Like,
Yeah,
super rude. We can go on a whole tangent about that.
But speaking of Penn,
Yes.
you had something you wanted to talk about.
Pendragon.
Yes.
Oh, well,
I
yeah.
know.
It literally clicked in my brain just as well. I was like,
As
wait
we're
a second.
talking about-
Arthur, Pendragon, Penn. Okay.
Yeah.
Pendragon. Yeah. But, Penn was her adoptive father for a hot minute. And then he was, okay. Now, here's my other question. Is he the first vampire ever? Because that was, his story was confusing to me as well. I was very confused by a lot of things in this book, honestly. So
Good. That makes me feel better because, like I said, I thought it was because I was listening and reading.
no, I was so
there's some
confused.
confusing parts.
Okay.
So he is half, it's like Arabia, but Arabia. He is half Arabian and half Peaky. That's what they called him.
Yeah.
The white people. Half them, but he was born in Arabia. And then he came over on a boat, but he had some magical objects.
Mm-hmm.
And he dropped the magical object when his sister died, which sounded a lot like Layth's story.
Yes.
When his sister died, he dropped it when he was burying her. And then the blood that was in that created these ghouls. And then the ghouls bit him. And then as he died, he turned into a vampire. So to me, that means he's the first ever vampire.
Maybe.
But we don't know how long ago this was.
Unless
so then
what he was carrying was vampire blood.
Right.
So, I mean, then it could have been.
That's what I read, was that he was carrying vampire blood.
Okay. So then there was already vampires out in the world, and he just happened to have vampire blood in it. And he did not create all the vampires.
That's
okay.
how I read it, but I don't know.
Right. Because it was
Hafsah?
Yeah.
we have many questions.
I thought I want the ghouls to be in it more. I think that's what would happen in the next book. And like I said, I don't know if I'm invested enough to read the next book, but the ghoul aspect of it, I think, is interesting. And I want more creatures than just vampires.
Yeah.
The thing I like about these types of fantasy books is the different fantastical creatures that you get out of it. And when it's just vampires, it's boring.
So I know that her other series had Jinn in it, not Jinn as in
like
the
DJ.
character Jinn. Yeah. But yeah, it had Jinn in it. And so I wouldn't mind if but I don't think that they can cross over the ocean, because that's like the whole thing is that land was magical. And any magical items outside of Calibor. Calibor was so cool, you guys.
That was an awesome weapon.
Once again, I did not like it at first because I was not sure how this book was.
Yeah.
And so when it was just like, it just magically changes in my hand into whatever I want it to be. And I was like, I couldn't wrap my head around that. So I'm like, oh, so this is like Disney? Like some weird magic weapon.
I love it.
I liked it towards the, like, as I got used to it and I got more used to this world and the writing and all of that. But originally I'm like, I didn't like how this went.
When she was like, explaining, they're like, you're not going to be able to carry a pistol. And she's like, oh, it'll dress for the occasion. And I was like, you're going to put a dress on it?
Right.
Okay. And then it changed into an awesome hairpin.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also liked that it could automatically kill vampires because that was such a huge, like, end game story.
Right.
Which, okay, question. Arthy's not dead. She was shot by...
I think that the thing that's
Late.
going to save her was that she was half. So her human part died.
So that's weird for me, though, because there was another line in here that said once she hit 16, she became full vampire. The half vampire was gone.
She was still half vampire. She just stopped aging.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
that makes
she's,
sense.
Like, it was kind of like one of those things where it's like I think, from the way I read it at least, she still is a half vampire because she was able to go in the sun. She was able to do other things.
Yeah.
But, like, she needed blood to survive and stuff like that. Which she ended up using the coconut water because she didn't want to use blood or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I think that that's what's going to save her. Is it's going to be like her humanity died. And so now she's a full vampire. Which, I wonder if the coconut water will stop working for her.
No, because I think because Jin's parents said vampires themselves can subsist on coconuts, which is another thing. I feel like the EJC, aka Lady Linden, aka the Ram, specifically cut off coconut import. Yes. So for me, she knows.
Yeah.
But why would she want to cut it off is now then, okay, it's illegal for them to, which is another thing. It was illegal for them to have blood, but they needed to have consent. Like, you have to consent in order to drink from someone.
Well, she wanted to get rid of them all around.
Well, exactly, yeah. So she didn't want coconuts. I don't know.
Well, that's what, like talked about how her mom was super, like, prejudiced against vampires and stuff. So, like, you get the idea. And the Ram is anti-vampire. And he used the Wolf of White Roaring. Yeah, I can talk. To spark dissent with humans and vampires and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So you get the idea that I think she wants to just get rid of them and only use them as the weapons that she's been using them by starving them and sending them out on the war or whatever to take over her colonies. So, like, I think that that's what's going to happen. I think the only reason I want the coconuts to be a thing for Arthy is because I want there to be repercussions. Otherwise, what's the difference? Like, her humanity dying and not.
Right.
Then she loses all love interest and really becomes asexual and aromantic.
And then Marissa's back interested
and then I'm back into the book.
Also, Jin.
Yes.
Jin is now a vampire, which he made a whole thing about, like, oh, I have to have my pastries. I could never be a vampire because then I could never eat pastries.
The minute he said that, I saw it happening. I was like,
he's
going to turn into a vampire at the end of this.
It's like the whole thing when they're just like, we finally found true love. I'm like, oh, shoot, someone's going to die.
I would have liked it better if Jin died. And it's not because I want him to die, but I would have liked it better because I feel like that would have hit more. And I don't want to read about Jin being a vampire. I don't want another vampire in the group. Like,
oh, right, because Mateo, Arthy,
Jin now. It's like Flick's the only human, really.
And how is that going to put a wrench into their relationship as well?
Well, that's what they're going to write in. Is he's going to be like, you can't love me because I'm a vampire. And
she's going to be like, drink from me.
Yeah.
Which, that was a scene that Lathe was just like, drink from me. I was like, what? I was so confused by that relationship because he ended up being evil. Or, like, not evil, but, like, not a good guy. Did he die? That's another question. Did he die?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't remember what happened.
So basically they shot each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he shot her with Calibor. Yeah. And she had Penn's, like, little golden pistol, which I was like, you don't make a pistol out of gold.
You know, you played it.
You played it, yeah. But yeah, so she shot him with Penn's pistol, and he shot her. But then we only see from the wolf guy, we only see him going, it just says he found Arthy, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And that's all we see, so we don't know. I hope he's dead. I don't want him to come back.
I wish there had been more punch to that twist for me, when it was like she realized that Calibor was actually the target the whole time. He was trying to get her used to his touch. trying to be able to like sneak up and get that, because I felt like that was the twist I was waiting for the whole book. But when it came, I was just like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Like,
oh, and then there was the line that Caliborn likes Arthie, and that's why it changes. So I was thinking he's gonna pull the trigger on her.
And
it's not gonna. Yeah, it's either gonna turn around and fire back on him.
right.
Yeah.
But it did not.
I'll be honest, I hated Lathe the entire time, so I blocked out a lot of the stuff. And I was telling Jenna, part of the problem with where I was reading and listening to it, and it sucked because it always worked out in the worst ways, because I'd be like, if I was on break at work or something, I'd be reading it on my phone, and then I'd get in my car and drive home and I'd listen to it. And so I'd be reading stuff like the fight scenes or the heist or something like that on my phone, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool, this is good. And then I get in my car and it'd be all the like romance scenes, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like trying to skip forward on a lot of it. I was like, I can't listen to this like stupid tension. And every single time, like Jenna was saying, where he was like trying to get her used to his touch and everything like that, like every single time he would like flirt with her or like touch her, I'm like, gross. Like,
Yeah, he was skeezy.
yeah, it sucked. Everything about that was.
I think that's where people started drawing the relationship between this and Six of Crows, is that Arthie didn't want to be touched or whatever because of that, which was the Kaz thing, and she was supposed to be the mastermind. So that's where people started to think like, oh, it's Kaz. But Kaz like genuinely couldn't be touched. She was just like, don't touch me. I'm not interested in you.
Yeah.
I don't want any romantic feelings.
But then she'd turn around and be like, oh, I want him so bad.
But at the same time, please,
love
love me, but from afar.
Yeah.
I don't want to admit that I want you. But yeah, I think that's what made people think that. And Jin did feel very Jesper.
Oh.
Jin felt very Jesper. I will give it that. But I think that's also just a trope in heists. That you have that like
comedic
funny,
relief.
Yeah. Playboy type person and everything like that. And then you have the forger who's smart and kind of geeky and all of that.
Doesn't know that they're attractive, so the
you
Playboy
have the
has to be
mastermind.
I have a quote I would like to read. And this sums up my entire life in Korea. And it says, acting like she didn't understand it whenever she wanted to was what she was owed, her tool to be used whenever she pleased, and so she gave him a blank stare and held her ground. Which, my story, living in Korea, I am very fluent in Korean, as you guys know. Mm-hmm. But I would go to the doctor's office and they'd always look at me and go, oh gosh, do you speak Korean? And I quickly learned if I said yes, a little bit, they just talked to me like I was Korean. Mm-hmm. And they would be like, here's all this medical language that, of course, I do not know because I only learned from talking with people. And here's all this medical language that you're expected to understand. And I'm just like, I don't know what you're saying. And they're just like, oh, more medical language. And I'm just like, I still don't understand. So I'd call my husband or whatever. But if I walked in to the hospital and be like, I do not speak Korean in English. And they would be like, can you write your name? And I'm just like, I can write my name. Nothing else. Then they would talk to me in English. And turns out a lot of the doctors that I went to are very good at English because the language itself, like the words that they would use, are mostly English.
Yeah.
So they know everything. So anyway, I just read that yesterday.
Like, I feel this.
I felt it so bad and I used it.
I was going to say, I do like, there was a lot of things that I liked about this book in little moments. I loved the whole thing with Arthie's hair. And when they asked her, like, why do you go through the trouble of dyeing it? And she was like, what do people notice? First thing that they notice about you? Like, my skin. And she was like, this gives me something else.
Yep.
And stuff like that. And like her thing, like her little nuances I thought were so interesting and cool that it made me like her as a character more. It's just, it was ruined by the love interest stuff.
I have a question. What do you guys think the, matching countries were? So obviously, White Roaring was London.
Yes.
And then I don't remember the name of the country itself, but that was England.
Yeah.
And then the EJC, the
East Jeevan Company.
That was India.
Yeah.
But then where was Arthie from? Like would that be like the Philippines? I don't know where coconuts come from.
I'm sorry, but I was thinking that was just all a setup of where are coconuts from?
Yeah.
Hey, Guys, I'd
Guys,
like you to
where do you
teach me.
think Arthy's from? Because I want to know where coconuts come from.
I mean, they're tropical, so I don't know exactly where they started out, but they're tropical fruit, so probably the Philippines or
Yeah, I have no idea. It was hard for me to picture a specific, like, this is what it was, because so many of them were just foreign.
Yeah.
That it was like, okay, you have this person that was foreign, so I'm like, they're probably from somewhere over here.
Mm-hmm.
And like Jin, obviously some sort of Asian
Yeah.
background in it. And I don't know, there was just, I
Arthi
didn't have a
talks about
specific.
saris, and I think
Yeah,
that made me think Indian
India.
too.
Okay, but
So-
Ceylon. I also love the name that her
Ceylani.
Ceylan was the name of her country. It's the name of tea.
Yeah,
I loved
exactly.
it. It wasn't spelled the same,
No.
but yeah.
I think
cool.
this book, what I liked about this book was it had a lot of like really small quotes that I liked.
Yeah.
And I wish I had highlighted more of them on my phone, but like I said, I half listened to it too, so
Right.
I didn't go back to highlight it. But there were two that I did highlight that are such small things, but I liked the way the author phrased it. And the first one was fear stops life, not death.
Ooh.
And I'm like, that was such a like good little like, hey, live your life type
Yeah.
thing. And then the other one was I never liked thrones and those who sit on them, digging graves with the swipe of a pen.
Yes.
I'm like,
Was that Jin who said that? Or was it Penn?
I think it was Jin, but I can't remember. I'd have to go back.
Anyway,
to that.
someone, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that quote.
So it was like, I liked the way the author wrote things.
Mhm.
She had a really good turn of phrase
Yeah.
and like very insightful in a lot of things. So I think she would be an author I would like if she wrote in a different genre or style.
Mm-hmm. If we end up reading the second book, we may have to do a convince you to read it. If we say, hey, Marissa, no romance, you'll be like, all right, guys, on it.
Yeah, right.
All right, I'll give it a go.
The romance is a lot less now because
There's significantly less options.
There's no love triangle.
they're killing off the options.
Oh my gosh. What did I do with those? I wish I could.
Maybe the end game is everyone just becomes a vampire.
How did I not bring this up? Her dedication. We
To her
talked about her
sister.
dedication was to her
Oh,
sister.
yeah.
It immediately,
to me.
like, her dedication was to her sister, and she said, because you are my sister, and more often than not, my sanity. And I was like, that is Marissa to me. Like, she is my person. And I was like, I am already sold. Chapter 1. I loved this moment, and like it set the tone for the whole thing. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna love the way this author writes, because it says, weapons, the butler asked, palm outstretched. No, thank you. Already smiled. I have my own.
That was fun,
I was
yeah.
like, okay, I'm gonna enjoy this like quippy, witty writing style. And then she said something, secrets were meant to ferment. They aged well. The longer they sat, the higher their value. I like that one.
That was a good one.
Going off of that one really quickly, I thought it was really cool that they were like, oh yeah, secrets is currency. And then they brought it up a million times. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I no longer think this is a cool line.
Right.
Right.
Like, I
Right.
thought it was cool and it would be nice to have it in there and the way that they use it. But then it just turned into just a running thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. You say stuff enough, it loses meaning.
She used in the same chapter like 3 times when she was doing her solo mission and ended up failing. She did where she's gonna fall and turn into a bag of bones like
Yes.
3 times in one chapter, and I was just like, yeah, we get it. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some things that I wish that the secrets had actually been used like currency.
Yes. They were not. They were hardly used.
There was like 2 moments where she was all like, oh, I'll tell you a secret unless you do this for me.
Yeah.
That was
right, and that was it.
But then they brought it up a million times of like, oh, Arthy's rich because she has secrets.
And
Right.
then also, she talked about them in front of people too
Oh, yeah.
often.
It
Like,
wasn't very secret. Yeah.
not secretive.
Nope.
And then I loved Arthi and Jen's dulce periculum. And then she said, dulce periculum, brother, which means sweet trouble. By the way, and it says, Arthi reminded him, holding up her left arm. He knocked the back of his right hand against the back of hers, their knuckles wrapped. We were made for trouble, you and me. And I just liked that little, like, brother sister handshake kind of thing that they had, which I thought was really cute, and I enjoyed that. And I'll say my last quote because I'm going to use it at the end of our thing. So when we're done, that will be my final quote for everything. But it's funny, I was looking through our prompts of questions, and I feel like we went over most of them. If I'm just going to leave it this way, I'd like to put it out there. What would you guys say is your favorite thing about this book? Because we've talked about our least favorites. But what was your favorite thing about this book?
I'd just say what I just brought up, the quotes, like those little turns of phrases that she had in there.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite part of it.
What about you?
I just love the trope of a ragtag team comes together to pull a heist.
Yeah.
Just the overall feel of it.
I liked the quotes a lot. I liked the writing style that she had. And then I think I liked Felicity's character.
Her character growth was so good.
Yeah. That was something that just hit so home for me so well. So yeah, I'd put it somewhere between those two.
That's exactly mine, is between Flick and the quotes. Quotable moments.
But yeah, it's funny because I'm reading these quotes. What did you like least about the book? We've went over that.
Check.
How did you find the quality of writing? Check.
Yep.
What were your favorite characters? Check. Which were your least favorite characters? Megan, what was your least favorite character?
Lave. For sure.
What was your least favorite character?
Honestly, a tie between Lathe and Mateo.
Mateo, my boy.
Which characters did you relate to the most? Flick.
Arthie.
Megan's out here for revenge.
I actually liked Arthie's story a lot.
Yeah.
And that's not something I brought up earlier, and I should have. I did, minus the romance.
Exactly. Yes.
I do think that she could have been a lot stronger if she wasn't subjected to
the love triangle.
It felt very forced for me, but I loved the plot twist, quote plot twist of her being a half vampire and her struggling with it, and you know the past that she had based on it.
I think Arthie, like you said, if we took out the romance, I would have liked Arthie's character a whole lot more and would have related to her a whole lot more. I will say a little bit, I don't like the internal self-loathing that she had for being a vampire. I didn't like that part of it because she's such a, like, I'm going to use my strengths to my advantage. Mm-hmm. And she was just like, but this sucks, so I'm not going to use it at all.
Also, I just realized we never, like, she failed. The entire book was just her failure.
Oh, yeah.
She did not succeed in a single thing. She got the ledger.
Yeah.
But, that was another question I had. She went and was able to get the ledger and make a copy of it and gave him the copy? She gave Lathe the copy. How did that happen?
Right.
Because there was a specific line where she was like, oh, yeah, he just can't open it because there's nothing in there because it's fake. But I went in and I already looked at it.
No, because he explained it to her. She goes, how are we going to know what to get? And he explained it. It's a purple leather-bound thing. So she probably just had Flick make a purple leather-bound book or something like that.
Then we should have had a line where she goes like, Flick, I need you to do one more thing for me.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm going to find that specific line because to me it was like, oh yeah, well she already came in here earlier and...
Yeah, it sounded very much like that. I remember.
See, I thought it was just like a sleight of hand thing. Of like she had it on her already and swapped it.
He didn't know that she'd already thumbed through the pages, ensured it was what they were looking for. So to me, that specific line, I'll read a little bit more. What was more curious, Arthie thought, was the way he gripped the letter tight away from her, how he hadn't allowed her to give it a closer look, how he didn't trust her. He didn't know she'd already thumbed through the pages, ensured it was what they were looking for. So how did she do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think she just snuck in first and looked through it before.
But they had to do the mirror trick.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did she... Because the way I thought it went, and I don't know because I'm not... Like I said, I was half doing everything weirdly, so details escape me sometimes. I thought, like, she had gotten in, and the way I imagined it playing out in my head was she'd gotten in, picked it up, and then he, like, had grabbed it. So, like, she came in first, thumbed through it, and he picked it up.
Yeah.
That's how I read that.
So he was distracted by something. Okay.
I don't know.
This was honestly probably the book that I had the most questions out of in a very long time.
Yeah.
like questions of just how the heck did this work? Right, like I'm 5.
It was pretty and it was flowery, and I think that sometimes in that flowery writing, sometimes you miss the little nuances.
Yeah.
Because it's not said plainly, or it's said too plainly, and then something flowery is put over it, and you're just like, wait, what? Like,
yeah. I think that's what I
So.
suffered from. And I love flowery writing.
Yeah.
I just was so confused. Like the whole Jin and Flick sleeping together. I literally thought that they slept together. And then it said the next morning she left Spindrift. And I was like, oh, hey, okay. But then it's also, she has a room at Spindrift because she can't go
Where
home.
else is she going to go?
Yeah.
Jail.
Which also showed the ridiculousness of that, because obviously the ram wouldn't have known that, it wouldn't have assumed that her daughter was.
That's a good point.
Like, so she knew that her daughter escaped because the ram wouldn't have.
She's busy.
Yeah, she's busy.
She's got
She
a
don't
lot on
care.
her plate.
Anyway.
But yeah, I don't know. All of it was, there was a lot of weird little things for me too throughout it.
But overall, I
yeah.
still gave it 5. I loved this book. I was just confused.
Yep. 4.5 for me, but only because, like I said, the romances didn't feel real to me, and I'm a big romance person. But that being said, I'm hoping the next books make me care more about the romance, because I've heard that We Hunt the Flame is supposed to be a really good romance. So I have faith in the author.
From what I remember of it, I don't remember. It was one girl and 2 guys on an adventure together, but I don't remember if it was a love triangle.
Oh, well, I've heard that it's really good. I haven't read it, so.
Yeah, I've heard great things as well. It also won a bunch of awards.
Yeah, crazy. I will definitely read more of her books.
Yeah.
I like her writing style. We'll have to vet them for Marissa. And then
Yeah, I think
convince
that's what it'll have to come down to me. For me, is somebody else has to read it first, like one of you guys, and let me know what to expect, and then maybe I'll read it.
Yes, understandable. But I'm glad that we all read it together, because this is definitely one of those books that I really wanted to talk to people about afterwards. It wasn't a book that I wanted to read and be like there's some books that I read and I'm like, I don't need to talk about this. It was a good book, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. But I know this one was one of those ones that I was like, I must discuss with this.
I'm glad you chose it.
Yeah, it's a good choice. Okay, well, do we have any other closing thoughts?
No.
Okay. All right. So before we go, do we know what we're going to read next?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Because Megan is
It's
choosing.
my
Megan
turn
is
again.
choosing.
I was looking at my bookshelves thinking, I want to go for a book that has been out for a while, so that way people can either hopefully get easily on either Libby or at their own library. And this is an author in our previous episode that I have mentioned, Claudia Gray. And we're going to do a mystery, and it's The Murder of Mr. Wickham.
Okay.
Ooh.
So I love Claudia Gray. I love all of her books that I've read so far. And I love Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
And I did read the other murder mystery ones, like Pride and Premeditation, Sense and Second Degree Murder, Manslaughter Park, and I absolutely loved those. So this one is, again, The Murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. I, again, as always, don't know anything about it. I just auto-bought it because I love Claudia Gray.
I'm so excited. I like mysteries.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then we're going to end this on a quote. This is from the book, as always, and it's by Jin, and it says, "Why save the world when you can have tea? And really, is there a more important question out there?"
We're not out here saving the world.
No, we're just having tea and talking about books.
That reminds me of the coffee mug that I use at your house, Jenna, that says my plan for world domination. It says, but first, coffee.
I know. I love that coffee mug. And then at the very bottom of the cup, when you finish it, it says, "You can do it."
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
I love it.
That has become unofficially, but kind of officially, my coffee mug at Jenna's house.
Yes.
I love it. You guys need to start bringing coffee mugs over to my house, or assign ones that I have, because I have a bunch.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna have to do. We have to come over, pick our coffee mugs from your cabinet, and you need to find a coffee mug at my house, and then
I'll do it. I like your glass ones though. Those are just simple and good.
They're beautiful. They're so photogenic.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye. We all harmonized on
I
that.
love
Good
that
job.
one.